Yo, what's good, brother? You ready to live stream?
Oh, man, I just don't know. I'm feeling real low on energy right now.
What? You know what, man? I know exactly what you need. You need some W energy. Let me send you some W energy right now.
W who? W what? W energy? What's that?
What's W energy drink, you say, Tim? W is a clean energy drink that is made to give you focus with no crash, jitters, or against like other energy drinks. W energy drink contains no maltodextrin fillers and don't use artificial dyes. W energy drink also contains vitamins, amino acids, nootropic, and 150 milligrams caffeine. Here, Tim, try W's energy drink latest flavor, Dragonade. How do you feel?
Yo! Oh, I'm feeling so much better. Damn, where do I get some more of that W from?
Oh, that's what's up. Just go to the awesome website, w.gg, and use our special code Bloodline1 and get 10% off right now.
about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward.
What is up, everybody, and welcome to the preseason finale episode of the Dome Field Advantage podcast. My name is Dylan Abear, and today I am here to talk about the Saints' unfortunate 13-17 loss to the Houston Texans in their preseason finale. And the next time you'll see me on this show, I will be talking about the real stuff. It will actually count this time, our game against the Tennessee Titans. But getting into that, I will talk more about that episode towards the end of this episode. So I'll give more details on that. Before I get into today's episode, first of all, I want to acknowledge some of our Bloodline family who had some amazing streams this past week. First of all, I want to acknowledge the First Lady of the Bloodline, JD, for her 200th episode. Such an amazing milestone she was able to accomplish. Unfortunately, she had to do it under such bad circumstances because the day before we lost the hardcore legend Terry Funk. And then the day of her show, just hours before, she went on for such a big milestone episode. The wrestling world got the tragic news of the passing of Bray Wyatt. So credit to her, credit to all the guests that she had on for getting through such a difficult episode and just getting through such an amazing episode, because with all the stuff that went on, she still got through it. All the guests got through it. And I want to acknowledge JD and all her guests for getting through such and just a difficult episode. So I want to credit her for that one. And the Bray Wyatt news just makes me want to say, how much I appreciate everybody in the Bloodline, for anyone who supports this show, who comments every week, who tunes in every week. Just hug your loved ones, tell them you love them, and just live every day like it's your last, because you never know when it's going to be your last. So it's an unfortunate thing that happened. The wrestling world, like myself, is still hurting just days later after the tragic event happened with Bray Wyatt, and I know it's not going to go anyway anytime soon. So I just wanted to acknowledge JD for that one. I also want to acknowledge Tim. He put on a fantastic watch along for SmackDown, and it was a tough episode to watch. It was a tribute for Bray Wyatt, and we also did our fantasy football draft at the same time we were watching SmackDown. So it's awesome that he was able to put on a fantasy football draft to take our minds off a hard SmackDown to watch. So I want to acknowledge Tim for that. I also want to acknowledge the entire Bloodline who joined the big watch along for All In. Just hit milestone numbers. I believe last time I checked, it could be different now. It was over 1,100 views. They were almost at 900 when the stream ended. So credit to everyone who joined that watch along. Credit to everyone who tuned in and played part in getting the network at those numbers. So I just want to acknowledge everyone in the Bloodline who did content last week, who does content now, who did content today, and will be doing it this week, because we're only getting started. This network got started in March, and I feel like we're still only getting started, because we're going to be reaching more numbers, and we're going to be just knocking it out the park every single week. So just wanted to knock that out real quick before I get into my actual show. This network is just doing fantastic things, and I'm just so blessed to be a part of it, for them to give me an opportunity. And before I get into today's episode, one more time, I want to acknowledge the chat. Chat's blowing up already. Shout out to our tribal chief, Devin. Fantastic episode, by the way, of Get It Off Your Chest. I was able to listen to it earlier. It was such a good show. Listen to it and just love it. Justin, co-host of the End Time Wrestling Podcast, thank you for tuning in, man. Of course, we got Tim. Of course, I acknowledged Tim just a few minutes ago, and he's also acknowledging the First Lady as well. Courtney, also thank you for tuning in. Sisters tuning in to the show, and of course, Tim. Dude, it's not a problem, man. I also appreciate you as well for everything that you've done for me, for Devin, Nick, everyone that's really brought me in to really do what I've been doing for the show, for the back work I've been doing, graphics and all that. The fact that y'all give me this chance is so awesome. So of course, Devin, the Bloodline is taking over, man. We're taking over. And like I said, we're only getting started, I feel like, because we're going to be reaching such bigger numbers as the year goes on. We only been going for a few months, and we're just killing it right now. So got the host of Roto Slappers Streets tuning in. It was nice to do our fantasy draft, be able to talk some football back and forth with you as well. And also want to shout out Devin one more time because I took him on in the bloodline picks for All In, and unfortunately I wasn't able to conquer the Intercontinental Champion. So maybe I'll be able to get past him one day. You know, a couple matches got the best of me, and Devin retained his title. Shout out to my mom as well. She always tunes in every single week. You know, the support is just unbelievable. So getting into today's episode, I'll be talking about the unfortunate loss that the Saints took in their preseason finale to the Texans. It's unfortunate, you know, but like I said, it's only preseason, and there's more positive than I want to talk more than negative. And for one, you know, it's crazy to say that it's more positive than negative when you take away from a loss, but I mean, it's the truth. Saints look good. So let's get into the first segment. First segment is obviously always the same, and that's my 5 key notes. I got 5 key notes I want to talk about. And this man right here that you see on your screen, he played a huge part in this game, and that is obviously Jimmy Graham. Jimmy Graham returned to prime Jimmy Graham, the Jimmy Graham that we had before he was traded to Seattle, the amazing moments he was making with Drew Brees. This is the Jimmy Graham we got back. So my 5th key note is that, yes, it took 3 games, but we finally lost a turnover battle, unfortunately. Jake Haener threw 2 interceptions, one into triple coverage towards the end of the game, and then at the end of the game to seal it for the Texans. We won a turnover battle our last 2 games, and we unfortunately lost a turnover battle this time to the Texans. My 4th key note is that we have a loaded tight end room, and this is something the Saints are not known for right now, is having the great tight ends, you know, because when we had our tight ends, one on our screen right now, Jimmy Graham, this guy was putting up great numbers for Drew Brees, but ever since he was traded, the Saints were never able to find that good tight end. And now we got 4 on the roster right now, and I don't think we'll be able to. Let's see, Juwan Johnson, Foster Moreau, Taysom Hill. No, we got 5. We're going to have to make some difficult decisions going forward with the roster cuts. Of course, like I mentioned, Juwan Johnson is our starter. I'm still believing he's our starter. Foster Moreau, who came over from Vegas, he was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma, but he's cancer-free. He's been practicing with the team. He's even played in the preseason games, so you know he's good to go. Taysom Hill is listed as a tight end, but he's not really just a tight end. You know, if anyone has ever watched a Saints game in their life, they know Taysom Hill is more of a gadget player. He can play any position that you want him to. You know, he can be a kick returner. He can play on special teams on a kick returner, punt returner. He can, be blocking on the returns. He can play running back, quarterback. He can block on the offensive line. This guy can do it all. So yeah, he's listed as a tight end, but I don't necessarily see him as one. Jimmy Graham as well. Like I mentioned, I would love to see him make the team, but as good of a feel-good story as it is, I don't necessarily know if he'll make it. The tight end room is so loaded right now. I don't know if we need to stash that many tight ends on the team. And then the last one is, of course, Lucas Krull, who put on a fantastic performance. I'll talk about more about him in a little bit. But yeah, he put on just a fantastic game, Lucas Krull. My number 3 key note from last night's game is that Jalen Smith has proven yet again that he can be that reliable backup linebacker behind Demario Davis and Pete Warner, just in case somebody goes down. He was fantastic in Dallas. Then he went to New York for the Giants and played. I didn't really hear much of his name over there, so I'm not sure how well he did over there. I didn't follow the Giants too much. And then the Saints sign him, and in these last few preseason games, he has looked fantastic. So let's say Demario goes down. Let's say Pete Warner goes down. I feel like we can rely on Jalen Smith to come in here, and he can just go back to what he was in Dallas. So it would be nice. I mean, it's just a wait and see. So number 2, I got Blake Groupie is giving Will Lutz a run for his money. And the Saints have had kicking woes leading up to Lutz. Will Lutz has always been that consistent kicker, but not really in past couple seasons. Will Lutz has been more of an inconsistent kicker. He's missed crucial kicks that have led to losses, and Blake Grupe has come in and has been damn near perfect. The only kick he missed this preseason is a 60-yarder that he was thrown into. And earlier in last night's game, he made a 50-yarder. So I feel like he's kind of giving Will Lutz that run for his money that I just said. Now I feel like the Saints will go more veteran and keep Will Lutz over Grupe, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure the route Dennis Allen will go, and he's even been giving him that run in a training camp, in practice. He's been making more kicks than Will Lutz. So I'm not sure. I've been seeing more Grupe than Lutz in preseason, so I'm not sure if Lutz can continue that same consistency that he has kept for past seasons. Like I say, he's been more inconsistent than consistent. So Blake Grupe is definitely one that I feel like if the Saints don't hang on to, he's going to make another team very happy. I did mention that last week on last Monday's show that he will make another team very happy, but now I'm seeing what he's doing right now, and I feel like maybe if the Saints don't go with Will Lutz, I feel like maybe he can make us happy. I don't know. It'll be very interesting to see the kicking route that Dennis Allen decides to go with if he does not decide to hang on to Will Lutz and decides to go to Blake Grupe. And for one, you look at the kicking woes the Saints have been having for the last couple of years, bringing in Will Lutz. He's been consistent, but then, like I said, the last couple of years hasn't been great. But as we all know, former Saints coach Sean Payton is in Denver now, so not sure if the Saints cut Will Lutz, then if Sean Payton he automatically goes to Will Lutz and brings him on. Same thing with the wide receiving right now. The wide receiving room is not on my list for anything key notes, but the wide receiving room is so freaking packed right now. It's unbelievable how nice this wide receiving room looks right now. And as a Saints fan, it's an absolute blessing to see how well our wide receiving room looks right now. We have Michael Thomas, who's actually healthy, still healthy. Yes, he's only played in one preseason game, but to say he's still healthy after multiple training camp sessions, after the first preseason game he played in, and he's still healthy, that is a blessing to say that as a Saints fan who has been through the Michael Thomas woes with injuries. It feels good. We have Chris Olave, who was an absolute stud last year in his rookie year, who I still say should have been in the running for rookie of the year. He wasn't even the running for it. He wasn't in those finalists that were able to go for rookie of the year. We also have some awesome rookies that came in. We got Jontre Kirkland out of LSU, who I think he'll be on that cut list. I would love to see him maybe added to the practice squad, but that practice squad is always something that I worry about, because the Saints can add somebody to the practice squad and that other team will see them, but they have to add them to the 53-man roster, because you can't add from practice squad to practice squad. So we'll see where it goes. Interested to see where these roster cuts go. I don't know if there'll be some surprising cuts, if there'll be some more obvious cuts. I have kind of a list on who should be cut, who shouldn't be cut. But, this is probably the most I have really followed the preseason roster. Some guys I don't want to see cut, but I don't know. It's going to be an interesting couple of days. I'm not sure when the Saints will really start making it. The Saints are always that last minute team to start making cuts. So it's kind of a wait and see. Would love to see where the Saints decide to go with this roster. So my number one keynote is something I was absolutely frustrated with last week, and that was penalties. The penalties are something that the Saints absolutely did horrible with. Last week was 14 penalties, 141 yards worth from the penalties. And this week they cleaned it up so much. Only 2 penalties for 15 yards. So if the Saints can go into like the regular season and be so disciplined as they were in their last game last night, my God, I mean, I just don't see how this team doesn't succeed from these penalties, because the Saints are always one to shoot themselves in the foot. It can be a long, deep pass from whoever. Saints defender will make a horrible move. And of course, the refs being the refs, the horrible ass NFL officiating that we have today will always find a way to screw us. I and this is the bias side coming out of me right now. I feel like since the no call against the Rams, how much we retaliated versus the officiating, kind of feel like they kind of have something out for us. But that's just me being the biased Saints fan that I am. Feel like they are kind of out to get us. So I feel like, the NFL officiating crew has been been kind of on us a little bit. Just want to hop into the chat before I get to my last and final topic. Of course, my third topic is always like the preview for the next game, but being that there's no preseason game, there's no actual game for us next week. I'll be a topic short for today, and I'll talk about my first regular season episode just in a few minutes after I get to my last topic. But I want to hop into the chat for another few minutes. Chat's blowing up some more. I feel like I've missed so much comments. I'm still getting the hang of doing shows on my own and seeing how many comments come in. I do another show, not with a bloodline, and we don't get this many comments, so I'm still getting the hang of this for sure. Of course, Tim talking about Bears legend Jimmy Graham. I mean, he had his moments in Chicago, also for Seattle and Green Bay as well. Shout out to Dango from Bump Boys for tuning in. That's my dude right there. Let's see who else we got. Scroll down a little bit. Kayla, thank you so much for tuning in. It's always a pleasure having you. Can't wait for y'all new show coming up, you and Dango. I'm not sure if y'all announced it. Hopefully I didn't spill the beans on that one. Yeah, Thomas has been injury prone. He has, and that's something I'm used to, but seems like things are okay right now. But I don't want to jump the gun and say he's going to play a full season. Hell, I'll be happy if he plays more than a few games, because that's the Thomas that I'm used to. So let's get to my last and final topic. Unfortunately, the show has to end a bit earlier, and that is my player of the game. I spoke so highly of him already, and as you see, Lucas Krull, our, I guess you could say, fifth string tight end, put on a fantastic game with Jake Haener. He, if I can get my stats correct, he had 7 catches for 106 yards, and he played a majority of the game, but he was a popular target of a rookie, Jake Haener, and they just had fantastic chemistry together. So if the Saints decide to hold on to Lucas Krull, I will be shocked if they hang on to him, because the shoe-in for making the team should be, Jawan Johnson, should be Foster Moreau. Since he is listed as a tight end, I would say Taysom Hill. Now, the other names, I'm not sure. Like I mentioned, Jimmy Graham, as much of a feel-good story this is, I don't know if they decide to hang on to him. He had a fantastic game. Saints are constantly posting about him. I don't see how you post about him this much and cut him. I don't know. And then Lucas Krull, I feel like he'll be the name that's on the outs. I feel like he's more on the outs than Jimmy Graham is. Because Lucas Krull's a name that I didn't really know. I guess leading up to this game, I wasn't sure how well his stats were. I know everyone kind of had their breakout game in these last 3 games. I know first game was A.T. Perry. Second game, I think, was Shaq Davis, who I'm not even sure if they decide to hang on to Shaq Davis. I really hope they do. This guy's been playing phenomenal, and I think he can be just one that really contributes to our wide receiving room. Someone who I would let go for receiving room. I know that for Denver, Jerry Jeudy went down, and I know that someone who personally I'm not a fan of, and I would be okay with letting go, is Tre'Quan Smith, someone who has been underachieving year after year, who hasn't lived up to his full potential with the Saints. So I would be more than happy letting him walk or trading him. If you get value for Tre'Quan Smith from Sean Payton, then I see that as a big win. If you get something for Tre'Quan Smith, but I think the more realistic thing is you release them and you keep a guy who's been performing fantastic, like a Shaq Davis. So it'll be interesting. But Lucas Krull absolutely put on a show. I would be absolutely stunned if the Saints keep him. But for one, the Saints have been known to surprise people. They traded Jimmy Graham to the Seahawks when no one expected it after the big contract they gave him. They make some surprising cuts. They make surprising trades. So I think the Saints are going to surprise a lot of people with some of the moves they make going into the regular season. So that will do it for the preseason side of things. I want to talk about my regular season schedule before I get on out of here. I will not have a show next Monday, so you will not see me here next Monday, but you will see me on the Bloodline Entertainment Network on Wednesday. Wednesday, 6 o'clock Central, 7 o'clock Eastern. I will be welcoming in Justin Patterson, who is a big Tennessee Titans fan. Appreciate Tim for hooking me up with Justin to get the show on the road. And then every week after that, I will be doing a Monday recap of the game, which I already told Tim, and I'll announce it right here. Jordan, my backstage guy, will be joining me for the recap show for the Tennessee Titans game. And then going forward, maybe he'll join me for some, maybe I'll do them on my own. And then for the preview shows, I'm going to be trying to get a guest on that's a fan of the opposing team for every single week. I did mention on our fantasy football live stream we did this past Friday that I know that some of my Bloodline guys are some Chicago Bears fans, being Tim, Devin. I know Graydon's a Bears fan. And for one, I know there's more, but I would love to get as many as possible. So the Bears and Saints do play later this season. We may see a more jam-packed preview show than what we're expecting, but it's going to be a fun one. So that's my plan. Monday at 6 o'clock Central, and then Wednesday at 6 o'clock Central as well. That's the time for me. 6 o'clock Central is when you'll see me for the Bloodline. And yes, I would love to get Graydon on the show. Graydon, if you're down, man, come with Devin and Tim. I would love to get them as well for the big Bears Saints previews. Of course, we got a Niner fan here. I kind of have a little bit of bad blood with the 49ers, being that 2013 playoff game where we lost on that last second touchdown pass to Vernon Davis. That one just still stings, So many playoff losses just hang on to me for that one. Of course, talking about the no call, talking about the meaningless miracle, and I'm talking about the Vikings because they got absolutely destroyed by the Eagles for their next game. So every time they show it, of course, seeing, the Saints being the subject of it still sucks to see, but it absolutely meant nothing, so you can show it, 100 times a day. And honestly, it won't do nothing to me because it went down to nothing for the Vikings. We still hold that big one over the Vikings from 2009 because we actually want something from it. So, hey, whatever. And then, of course, that 49ers victory in that championship game, because I know we would have beat the Giants in the NFC title game. And honestly, that was one of the best Saints teams to not win it in 2013. That one just really stung. Of course, got some guests already coming on. Of course, got two that are, like I say, confirmed now. I would love to see if Tim would want to come on as well. So far, Devin and Graydon are coming on for the Bears Saints. And I will be reaching out to more people. Hopefully within the Bloodline, we have more fans that are going to be taking on the Saints. So if you are playing the Saints, if you're a fan, if you're with the Bloodline, to reach out. If I don't get nobody, I'll have to reach to people who are outside of the Bloodline. October 8th, you play the Patriots. I'm down. Okay, I will have to start putting on like a schedule because I got to start getting people down. Who's going to come on? Who's not going to come on? Nick from the Universal Wrestling Podcast, thanks for tuning in, man. Always a pleasure for having you on. Yeah, I'm going to be reaching out to a lot more people to come on for the show. It's going to be just a blast being able to actually have guests on this show to talk more football. And who knows, maybe some trash talk will come out. That'll be more for the Falcons, Panthers, and the Bucks, a division that the Saints should run away with, by the way. But that's for another day. But getting to our social media, first, I noticed I never had my banner popping up at the bottom, something I'm struggling with, by the way. You can find me on Twitter, X, it doesn't matter, at @DylanAber_. You can find the Bloodline at the Bloodline ENT on there. Instagram, it's the same handle. We're also on Twitch, Facebook. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have a fantastic Discord, by the way. Courtney runs that fantastic Discord, putting out her messages, her positive messages every day. She's absolutely killing it over there. Everyone within the bloodline is killing it. Gotta credit everyone. If you're with the bloodline putting out content, if you're just supporting but still with the bloodline, I gotta credit all of you. So all links for all socials are in our description. And one more thing before I get out, we do have merchandise. I am not wearing my shirt. I was wearing it last week. I wore it earlier, I think earlier today or yesterday. It's in the washer now. I gotta wash it, and then I'll have it on my next show. But yes, we have merchandise, people. The merchandise link is in the description of this video. And of course, just like the W commercial that people are just loving right now, we also have a merchandise commercial. So check it out.
Tired of bored, uninspiring merch? Well, you need to go to bloodlinenetwork.com/merch.
We got merch for everyone. Men, women, kids, in the home.
We got tanks, V-necks, t-shirts, coffee cups.
And we can't forget about beach towels. That's right. Get your ass off that hot ass sand and get your Bloodline Entertainment Network beach towel.
Bloodlinenetwork.com/merch.
For your pleasure.
Absolutely. Bloodlinenetwork.com/merch to get all your merchandise. I believe right now until September 7th at 10 a.m. Central, they are doing $13 tees right now on select t-shirts. So go check that out. Got some fantastic merchandise over there. I absolutely love my Bloodline shirt. So comfortable. And also, one more thing before I get out, as you can see at the bottom of your screen, we are sponsored by W Energy. I am yet to order my W, but I'm hearing fantastic things about it. Use the code Bloodline1. You'll get 10% off your order. And one more thing, yes, the Dome Field Advantage is tonight, not tomorrow. Scheduling issue with that for people who may have watched a rundown video a little while ago, noticed my show wasn't on it. That was a huge mix-up. I never noticed that it was put down for Tuesday, but so hopefully people weren't looking forward to it tomorrow because I won't be there, unfortunately. And yes, my third guest is absolutely locked in for Saints Bears, so it looks like Saints Bears will be one that people will want to tune into because it's going to be an absolute jam-packed one. I got my Patriots guest. So far, I don't think I have anybody else. I know Kayla is a Panthers fan. So Kayla, if you're down to join for the Panthers, I would love to have you on as well. Talk some Saints Panthers. We play all early in the season, so it'd be nice to have you on the show. But that will do it, everyone. Like I said, once again, I will not be here next Monday. Join me on Wednesday, next Wednesday, for my Saints Titans preview with Justin Patterson, big Tennessee Titans fan. But until then, I hope everyone had a fantastic weekend, a fantastic Monday. Just know, once again, like I mentioned when I was talking about the Bray Wyatt news, that, just live every day like it's your last. Hug your loved ones, tell them you love them, and just appreciate life. Just appreciate everything you have in life because you never know when it's going to be your last. So until then, I will see everybody next Wednesday for my big regular season preview, and y'all have a good day.